Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to live streaming from Leonie, Kent. To those of you who are new to my channel, please note the next 15 minutes will be a pre-tour chat. So if you're not watching live, you can scroll forward until you actually get to the beginning of the tour. For those of you that are not new to my channel, hello and welcome. Let's see who we've got on board, shall we? We've got, obviously, Margaret's on board. We've got Susan. We've got Tish with a bunch of clutter. We've got the Spanner on board. And we've got Trista on board. Did I miss anybody? Well, I haven't read out 10 names, and Prism is telling me there are 10 people on board. Margaret's armed, yes, but I'm not sure. I think she has a screwdriver. So they mix and match. A whole DIY set I have. Hello, Leslie. Where are you, Leslie? That's a good start. Where are you, Leslie? I saw a photo and it looked very interesting. Hello, Kathy. And I saw somebody had written, but where are you? I'm going to have to take my hair down. It's banging against the back of the chair. So today's been really interesting. Massive storm, massive, lots of bangs and thunder, that was. So yeah, then had another one, but there wasn't much to speak about. My Wi-Fi router was flashing the lights, kept dipping in and out, so I thought, oh my goodness, what's that going to mean for this afternoon? What if I have a power cut? So cross fingers, everything will be tickety-boo. Hello, Mummy Sanderson. How are you? Well, you may be home now, Leslie. Where were you? Where were you? How very dare you? Where did you go? You didn't tell me. Didn't send photos. Didn't send a postcard. It's outrageous. It's also hot. The trouble is, it's hot and it's sticky, and it's rather annoying because you want to open the windows, but it keeps raining, so you can't. So that's a little bit annoying. And the weather forecast for next week is going to be about 28, 29, 30 degrees, so that's all just a bit silly, isn't it? However, having seen the awful state of affairs in Texas at the moment, I should not complain. A little bit of rain. Have I got something on my eyebrow? It's looking rather, or is it just my eyebrow itself? Oh, I say, oh, it's Tush again. Margaret's first ever holiday, she was 3, was to Torquay. Well, splendid. I imagine it's changed quite a bit since you were 3, and I don't mean that because obviously you're only 23, but in those 20 years, I imagine it's changed quite a bit. I went to Bournemouth University, obviously just a few years ago, and I must go back to Bournemouth. It's been so long I don't even remember what it was like, so I wouldn't probably be able to tell you if it's changed or not. The crowns are back. Whose crowns? The crowns. The crowns are back. The crowns. No. Tish and Tush. Can you imagine if there were 2 Tishes? Oh, do we have Mr. Trista on board? Or is he going to be watching on catch-up? Oh, that was my stomach girdle. I do girdle. Not my stomach girdle. My stomach gurgle. I've just had a jacket potato. I'm still trying to eat very healthily. So I had a jacket potato with cheese and beans. And, oh! Crowns. I can't see any crowns. Oh, I now it all makes sense. I did see something. So how the more you type, is it right that you get crowns? I saw when I put my little message on that it said something about top fans. So you get you must get crowns if you write a lot. Leonie, look at the 75 XP at top. The trouble is my screen looks absolutely nothing to like your screen. I have in my top left hand corner, I have 3 little dots in a round circle. I have a thingy so I can turn the camera around. I have 5:04 and 15. It says I've been talking for 5 minutes and 8 seconds and 15 people are on board. Then it has an end. If I press end, it ends the stream. I have a little thing at the bottom which does kind of little effects. Oh, I shouldn't have pressed that now. Look, of course, how ridiculous. Always, I remember, of course, that Natalie did that, didn't she? And yes, so anyway, so now we, of course, have completely, hurrah! Anyway, let's take that off and go back to where we were. So those are the special effects. That's... I'm not sure what that is. Apparently I've made myself cute, but I don't think it has, so I'm not sure what that is. Let's go back to off. Oh, colour. Yeah, there's loads of things I never even try. Oh, look. Yeah, so it's changing the background. It's all very weird. I think that's if you were like some kind of promoting some sort of something or other. Then I've got a little icon for the chat, and then I've got a share. That's strange. I would have a share. I could copy this link and share it onto Facebook. Maybe I should have kept some of those. The sun's now beaming in. Some of those filters on. This is the filter I like. Hello, Shaun the sheep. Shaun the sheep do 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 do. Shaun the sheep do 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 do. I haven't volunteered for the hospice yet this year. They emailed me about one in March, which would have meant I need to get up at 7 o'clock. And I don't do 7 o'clock on a Sunday. I said, let me know about the others, and they haven't got back to me, I've just realised. Anyway, so there you are. So what else have I got to tell you? Somebody, randomly, it's Tish's fault, because she's written Lamorama. Buttercup's goat sanctuary is close to me, and obviously it has goats. There was a goat that went there, was found trotting around in a local village, and went there about 2 days ago, and 4 men have gone in and stolen it. I was talking with a friend and I was like, why would you steal a goat? Would you steal a goat to eat the meat? Was it their original goat? And if you were going to steal a goat, why would you not steal a sheep? And that was the way my thought process went, to reminding me of that with Tish's comments about lamb, orama, or sheep, I guess. Yeah, it's all very strange. Anyway, I very much hope they managed to relocate the goat. Maybe we should do a video down there, actually. That would work, wouldn't it? I could do... How many people would like I mean, they're probably older goats. They're not like your cute jumpy up goats. It's a sanctuary rather than a milking goat place. I think I'm going to get slightly squinty soon because the sun is suddenly... The rain has stopped and the sun is beaming in. The sun is beaming in so well that it's showing just how dirty my windows are. Unfortunately, to actually go and clean them would involve some sort of gymnastic action, because there's a computer monitor in the way, a desk and a windowsill. So I maybe will ignore the fact that they actually are really dirty though. Oh well, hey ho, you can't see, you can just see me. Anything animal is good with me. Interesting. What about... I was thinking of something, I was trying to think of an animal that you wouldn't find interesting, but I can't think of one. Because I'm sure that even if I came up with something really bizarre, somebody there would actually really like to see it. So where is everybody then? We've got 14 people on door. That would be great. Do I plan going back to the hedgehog rescue place anytime? I do. However, the problem that we have at the moment with virtual tours is an issue of numbers. and an issue of income. And this doesn't just apply to me, this is kind of throughout the virtual world of guiding. The numbers have dropped so that investment is now, time investment means that it's now no longer necessarily something that you're not making a loss on. My concern would be if I went back to the hedgehog place, I would do a tour and it would not reflect the investment that Lisa would put in. So it's something I'm mulling over. I did approach, because of our Leslie, I approached Chatham Dockyard, see if they'd let me do a tour, and that's a possibility as well. However, unfortunately, the entrance is £25. So I then have to have some deep thoughts about how I could make it work. So there you are. A simple question turned into a long, rambly answer. We've got about 4 minutes, I think. 4 minutes. 4 minutes of Casey. 4 minutes of Casey, who has just bumped into the chat. Good afternoon. Good evening. It's a tricky one. If it's 6:45, is that evening, even though it feels quite light? It's not afternoon, though, is it? Although typically anything after 12, or therefore noon, would be afternoon. So, shall I just say hi instead? It's probably going to help my ailing brain. So who else, apart from Margaret at the age of 3, has been to Torquay? Anybody? Answers on a postcard. Now, I'm guessing my people from across the pond have probably not been to Torquay. If Catherine was on, which it does not appear that she is, because probably she's like, I've been there a few times, she would, of course, have been, because she actually lives in Devon. It is afternoon, Casey, in Canada, so that is jolly good. Hello, Rosie. Claire, you've been here loads of times. Wonderful. Well, you haven't been here loads of times, because this is actually my house. Hello, Rosie Roo. Mary, of course, has also been there many times. So we have 3 people on board who've been to Torquay. I have been to Devon when I was younger, but I have no idea where or what. I did actually go to Torquay. I think it was Paynton. I went to a holiday park. My best friend's parents took me with them. And we had a awful go at karaoke on... well, there was basically some sort of television thing, and at some point they were doing a karaoke competition, and I was probably 16, maybe, don't know, really. Wore glasses. Decided if I was possibly going to be on television, hello, Mr. Michael. If I was going to be on television, I didn't want to have my glasses on. However, I quite forgot that I needed to read. And therefore, when the lyrics came up of the Beatles, I could not read them. So unfortunately, our karaoke, was it karaoke? Yeah, our karaoke session was mostly of me and her laughing quite a lot, and me saying I can't read the words, and her laughing. It was appalling. We did not get shown on TV. Casey was close to Torquay in 97. She was visiting England, and her dad went, but you were ill that day and couldn't go. I'm sorry to hear that. Hello, Sandra Hopper. I'm very sorry to hear that indeed. You were poorly, Pickle. Well, make up for it now with our wander around Torquay. Oh, goodness gracious. No, it's all right. Margaret will let me know. But I think we must be close. We're 1 minute away. 1 minute away, 1 minute. The excitement. So if there's anybody I haven't said hello to, I do apologise. And we will be kicking off live very soon. I have got Bambi on today, and it really is Bambi. Last time I remember it was Thumper, and I was telling you all it was Bambi, and it was a big fat lie. So we're going to kick off because it says 7 o'clock on my telephone. Thank you. And Margaret tells me it's 7 o'clock. So off we trot. Right. So today we are going to be going to Torquay in Devon. Hello, Andrew. It is, hello, Sandy. It is, I was very fortunate to go. The weather was glorious all week. We stayed in a caravan park. And drove everywhere. My sister was foolish enough to put me on the insurance on her car, which meant that I was able to drive around to some of these places on my holiday, taking copious amounts of video for you. We're going to start off by seeing a video I took of Pride, the Pride March or Parade, however you like to call it. And then we'll move on to a walk around the town. Now, I've never actually been to a Pride March before, so this was my first one. What I would say is I'm not sure how the audio is going to be because I'm right on the coast and it is jolly windy. So I'm going to press play and we're just going to have to see how we get on. And if it's terrible, the audio, then I will turn the audio off. So I may need to do a little bit of jiggery pokery at the start to make sure you're happy with it. So let's go. So as you can see, we've just had the fire station. Fire station, that's absolute nonsense. We've just had the fire brigade vehicle come past. And these are the entertainers. Unfortunately, I'm on the opposite side, so you're only really going to see the back of most of the entertainers. And if you look across the road, you will see all those stalls. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Pizzazz. Now, how's the audio? You can hear the old windy pops. Shall I turn that down a little bit more? It was a rather windy day. And then we have the march itself coming towards us. I don't want to mute it completely because then you're going to miss the kind of the musical bings and bongs. It's like I'm in a wind tunnel. So this is last month. It was actually on June the 14th. And this is me actually. See those stilts? That's totally me. As you can tell, that's the sort of thing I could do with style. In fact, myself and Ian Braceby might do that on our next tours. I mean, that has to take some skill. I find it difficult walking on two legs and... Now it's interesting, so we're actually, it's called Torbay Pride, and Torbay is Torquay, Brixham and Paynton. So those are the towns in South Devon. Now Torbay Pride itself is a registered charity. The march started from Princess Gardens on Torbay Road along to Torbay Meadows. It started at 12 noon. And aren't you just loving the dogs? And I would love to do another tour with Ian Casey, but unfortunately virtual tours at the moment aren't really covering the expenses of one, so it makes it very difficult. So one day, you never know. There are lots of stalls across the road. They had entertainment, so they had singing. food sort of vans, and they had local support organisations there as well. And the ethos is of the Torbay Pride is to keep it local. So the applications for traders outside a 15-mile radius of Torbay need a majority vote from the trustees of Torbay Pride. And I think that's really lovely, actually. And we did go round. I mean, my sister kind of works with a lot of LGBT groups, and so she went round to see, you know, how Torbay was doing it, and everybody was lovely. And I just can't tell you, when I was standing there, it's really hard to describe, but it was just kind of, oh, look at that little person running. It was just a little bit like a feeling of joy, because everybody was just so happy. Now, this event cost about £45,000 to put on. It's reliant on fundraising, donations and sponsorship, and they also raise funds via grants. No, I'm not alive, Tina. I am a ghost. That'll keep her happy. And this is fun. Hey, Ronnie, there were, I saw advertised, and probably more than this, but there were 3 kind of after parties, and one went on till 8 AM on Sunday morning. So this was on the Saturday. 8 AM. I think it would be fair to say that that wouldn't be something that I could do. Now, the UK's first Pride March was held in London on the 1st of July 1972, and the reason for that date was it was the nearest Saturday to the anniversary of, and this is controversial if I call it this, but either you might call it the riots or you'll call it the uprising at the Stonewall Inn, which was on the 28th of June 3 years before. And that was where the LGBT plus patrons had been targeted by the New York Police Department. It's now 50 years later. Now, the Stonewall Inn was a members club. The door staff admitted people who paid entry fees and who they believed to be LGBT plus. Now, undercover police entered the bar after midnight, gathering evidence for a search warrant for illegal alcohol sales. So technically, the Stonewall Inn was a bottle club. Sounds a bit vicious, but it actually means that people bring their own drinks and then they pay for service. Now, since the early 1960s, there'd been a number of raids on New York's LGBT bars and clubs. The Stonewall Inn was raided on average once a month. 2 of the police left about an hour later to fetch colleagues from the NYPD, and this was the Public Morals Division. 20 minutes later, they came back, they turned on the lights, and they demanded to see people's ID. They attempted to arrest patrons and staff without ID. The rest were told to leave. Now, many formed a crowd outside because, as you can imagine, they're feeling targeted at this point. Now, records say that, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this properly, Torbay de la Rivera, a female performer who was dressed in masculine clothes, was the first to resist, and she has said it was a rebellion. It was an uprising. It wasn't no damn riot. So the patrons shouted, they threw coins, and they fought with the police. Some of those arrested managed to escape the police van. Some police left with the van, and others were forced back by the crowd into the inn. Coins and bottles were thrown at walls, and a parking meter was uprooted from the pavement and used as a battering ram on the door. I'll be honest, I have absolutely no idea how anybody could uproot a parking meter. Thousands of people joined the protest that evening and thousands more over the next few days. 50 years later, finally, the New York Police Commissioner James O'Neill apologised. He said the actions taken by the NYPD were wrong, plain and simple. The actions and the laws were discriminatory and oppressive, and for that, I apologise. Following this, in 1969, a resolution was adopted by an association of activist groups from the US on the East Coast to hold an annual demonstration on the last Saturday in June in New York City to commemorate the demonstrations at the Stonewall Inn. On the 28th of June 1970, the first Pride marches were held in New York, Los Angeles and Chicago, attended by thousands of people. London's Pride had approximately 2,000 people attend. The aim is to show they are proud, not ashamed. They're determined to come out of the shadows and stand up for their rights, to make themselves visible and demand LGBT liberation. Let's hope none of these songs get me a black mark on YouTube. Is that not the best ambulance you've ever seen? And I love the fact that she's actually driving and waving all at the same time. Hello, stragglers joining the tour. Ride with pride, baby. So, of course, now that was actually much, I mean, as I said, I didn't know what Pride was going to be like, the Pride March, but I just thought it was a lot of fun. People really just enjoying themselves, showing they are proud. And this is where the wind is coming, because this is the view. And it's a beautiful view. And we'll be walking the other way shortly, just to confuse you. So this is, Tina, it's almost like you missed the beginning of the tour. Tina, this is in Torquay, which is in South Devon, England. Now you see that when I've come back, you see that little blob. That's Mr. Gimbal showing himself. And oh, what a lot of wind noise. And those are not the properties for me to be living on, and you can see the walkway there as well. There's me playing. I know some of you like me to zoom in and zoom out, so I think I was having a bit of a play, and then I was no, the White Cliffs are in Dover, Tina. That's in Kent. Hi, Sue. And look, some cool little beach huts. And I do apologise. I think that the wind noise is much better when we go for our walk round the town. Oh, goodness gracious me. You can probably hear how blown away I was at this stage. There's a fun little tent there. Dover and Devon. So Devon's a county. Dover is a town in Kent. One of the towns in Kent, right by the coast. And obviously, as you can see, we're right by the coast here. But it's on the opposite side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go for a walk, shall we? Let's go for a walk round. So we are looking out over the harbour. So we're now on the opposite side. Well, not the opposite side, but you can see where we were. And I was very high up, so I hope you're proud of me just to get you this view. I didn't stay there for long, but I thought it was worth going up there to get a nice view for you. And there's a bit of flooding on the old roof, isn't it? Oh, well, you know, the issues of a flat roof. And there's a bottle stuck in that drain, which I thought that's quite interesting, whether or not somebody had stuck it there as some sort of balance or how on earth it got in there. So we've taken a bit of a panoramic view. And then we're going to be walking down. I know, it's amazing. And nobody was with me. And I was on stilts. Yes, Tish. I was certainly on stilts. People smugglers, of course. And don't spread avian flu. Was it really the setting for Fawlty Towers, Mike? I don't know anybody who's gone to Torquay before, but I could be wrong. So we're actually walking towards Beacon Terrace now. 2 to 8 and 10 to 11 Beacon Terrace is listed on the National Heritage List for England. They're 19th century grade 2 listed. Now, number 3 to 4 Beacon Terrace is the Elephant Restaurant, which is Michelin starred, run by Simon Holston and his wife. Now, his is the first restaurant in Torquay to get a star and the only one to keep it. And he's held the star, the Michelin star, since 2006 now. Oh! And if I recall, so I'm just about to choke. Manuel. And there you have, what a fantastic logo. The elephant. And now this is rather posh. So unfortunately, it wouldn't be somewhere that I'm going to be going. So your sample menus, they're 60 odd quid. Your sample dinner tasting menus of £100. And then you've got sample lunch menus. And you've got a chap in there probably wondering what I'm doing. But isn't that a lovely logo? I mean, that in itself I think is worth a Michelin star to me. But I didn't go there for lunch. But beautiful view. I was very lucky, apart from the wind. It was lovely weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Sound like I'm Goldilocks for a minute. And this is Beacon Quay. And there's probably a lot of money in the boats around here. It's working quay. Please take care. Caution slippery surfaces, trip hazards, forklifts, deep water. It's the sort of place my mother would want me nowhere near. And you can just hear the girls in the background. And this is why, unfortunately, even if I'd wanted to do it live, you couldn't do it live because you wouldn't be able to hear me with all that wind noise. Risk of falling concrete. I'll be honest, there's so many risks. Who knew? But I actually came out alive, so that's a bonus. And Susan has a small grey elephant. She'd save it if she had fire. Just the elephant. There was a little land train that went round, stopping at the sites. But to be honest, we only had about 4 hours in Torquay. So that was watching the Pride March, walking around the Pride stalls, getting lunch and doing some filming. I think that's absolutely fabulous. And you can certainly see why. So this destination is called the English Riviera. And it must have looked something in its heyday. And we'll talk a bit more about what's happened since. Key. So yes, the wonders of the English language. If somebody came across, they'd think, how do you pronounce Key? Well, they wouldn't think Key because they don't know how to pronounce Key, but yes, it is Beacon Key. You've got the Great British Fish and Chip Shop. Bit of scaffolding for you. Some amusement. So all that seaside-y kind of excitement going on. And Agatha Christie was born in Torquay in 1890. She's written 66 novels, 14 short stories and over 20 plays. More than 1 billion of her books have been sold in English and 1 billion in translation. She died aged 85 in 1976. Now, we'll see a statue of her and her favourite dog Peter soon enough. And the statue is the focal point of the new £4 million Harbourside Plaza, which was unveiled on 12th of April of this year by her grandson Matthew Pritchard. So literally, if I'd come here last year, I would not be able to show it to you. We've got a bit of an Irish pub there. How long a drive is it to where? So it's to get there from here, I wouldn't even do it. But yes, you could get a train, but it would take about 7 hours from here, I'm guessing, to get there. I actually drove to my sister's and then we drove up. Beautiful architecture. Oh, and I say that about the one on the right. To get on the train, I would need to get a train into London, and then, yeah, it probably would have been quicker to go abroad. And that's part of the problem with these seaside resorts, actually. And making sure they have got those tourists travelling. A few nice palm trees. We're on the inner dock. And I'm on camera. Smile, I'm on camera. Well, goodness gracious me. They were on camera, me being on camera. Oh, look at that. Oh, VW. It's a 4 gourmet drive from North London. Leslie's still into that Michelin-starred restaurant by the sounds of it. And if you look ahead, you will see the Mallock Memorial Clock Tower. Now, I'm just going to show you to the left again first. I think, No, we'll have the 4 gourmets, Leslie. Debenhams used to be one of my favourite stores, unfortunately now closed. So now, you can see the Mallock Memorial Tower, clock tower in front of us. It's grade 2 listed, about 70 foot high. It's in a Gothic style, and you've got the 3 clock faces which go onto the approaching streets. It was erected in 1902, and it commemorates Richard Mallock, who was the MP for Torquay. Well, that rhymes. Now, in 2010, the tower was refurbished. £65,000 from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. Oh, yes, I tripped over that, which is why I show you these, so you can see the old tram lines there. And 30,000 from Torbay Council. Now, during this refurbishment, they found the original bell, which hadn't been rung since the beginning of World War II. They found it wrapped at the top of the tower. They reinstalled it and it chimes again. Now, this is really, really lovely. A local man called Keith Thurston wound the clock mechanism each week since February 1963. He had to climb 24 metal rungs to the top. He said during COVID lockdown it was the only thing that got him out the house. He ran a clock repair business and maintained a number of important clocks in Torbay. Sadly, he died in 2022, a year before his 60th anniversary. And what I think is really interesting is how you don't kind of get these kind of structures built anymore. Yeah, a testimony to the life and public service of Richard Mallock. And that's talking about where it was restored and the donations. His many friends and constituents. Actually reminded me, that view, when I saw it on the still, it reminded me of one of the mausoleum that we went to in Supportar. Reminded me of the front of one of the sculptures, grave sculptures. I've forgotten the word that I'm looking for. Didn't get to wander up there at all, unfortunately. Woo! Whee! Speedy! This was making sure I didn't get run over. Just trying to get it all in one shot with the clouds in the back. And I just actually decided, look, managed to get in a nice car for you. Quite a feature. And quite nice that there's space around it so you can really appreciate it. And seating, of course, always helpful. And then these little pebble seats, or so you've got your normal seating, and then I guess if that's too busy, I'll go and sit on a pebble, a mighty large pebble, which unfortunately had been popped on. So perhaps not the most exciting. And here we have the statue that I was talking about of Agatha Christie and her favourite dog, Peter. Of course, with a book. And then there were none. Just one of her many. And we were then surrounded, unfortunately, by people wanting to have a photo. My gimbal had a funny 5 at that moment. By people wanting to sit next to Agatha Christie on her seat, or indeed look behind. Get in the stream, why not? It's good, isn't it? It had been due to be unveiled during the International Agatha Christie Festival, which was in September of last year, but it had to be delayed as contractors found unexpected pipes and cables, which meant construction works for the development were extended. Oh no, I've just found an unexpected pipe. As unfortunately, so many things are not mapped out. Now, Torquay was once considered the richest town in England, particularly during Victorian and Edwardian times. It was popular as a destination for wealthy individuals, royalty, and tourists. Unfortunately, now there are high levels of deprivation, like many seaside towns. They have drink, drugs, and mental health problems, levels of domestic violence, and in 2019 Torbay ranked 48th of the most deprived local authority in England. That's out of 317. Now in 2021 the town of Torquay, in the 2021 census, there was a population of 52,034 people. It's on the south coast of Devon, and in 1948 it hosted the water sports events of the Olympic Games. Now you'll see here the ramrod in the sea train even, not the sea tree, that would be interesting, and the Western Lady. So lots of boat trips, train trips advertised. Yeah, no, that statue when I spoke about earlier is was put up in April of this year. Shellfish and oyster bar, lots of seafood if you like that sort of thing. I don't. It is indeed pronounced Torquay. In 2007, it was designated a Globo... No, it wasn't, was it? No, there's no such word as Globo, is there? It was designated a Global Geopark by UNESCO. That means it's one of 9 in the UK, and there's 140 in the world. Globally, it's recognised with unique geological interest. It also has seagrass, so that's not seaweed. Flowering plants that live fully immersed in seawater, and they're home to hundreds of marine animals and plants. So a lot of biodiversity here. And yes, Lee, Torquay is a lovely place. And I think the thing is that a lot of people go abroad now on their holidays, perhaps because of more reliable weather, because of the cheap prices of flights. I think there's been a bit of a resurgence in domestic tourism since COVID. But these places need investment. They need the tourists. And it wasn't because of, we were in mid-June. It wasn't actually too busy. And you'll see all those little sort of stalls and where you can buy your tickets for the train or some boats. This is obviously, it was getting very windy here. You can see that I'm getting a bit buffeted. But I wanted to show you this angle. The old fish quay. And that's another bridge across. I didn't take you along the bridge because it is incredibly windy. Yes, second homeowners, Devon, Cornwall. I know somebody who's got another property in Cornwall. So, of course, when they're not there, they're not spending. However, they are now selling up in Maidstone and moving to Cornwall. So it's really nice to be able to go and actually show your support to the local economy. Now, when you're going out, go out and support the local businesses. So I don't know why I've got a cough. I must be allergic. This is yes, Tina, as I said, it's called the English Riviera. It's a bit of a marketing slogan more than anything else, but yes. So you'll see a sign later on in the tour which refers to it. You can also buy some discount tyres if you want. You can see the wheel, the English Riviera wheel, and you'd have to. These are basically some sort of bylaws there. There's some interesting bylaws that I found quite interesting. Did I just say interesting bylaws that I found interesting? They must have been very interesting then. And we are walking towards Princess Gardens, walking towards Torquay Pavilion. Unfortunately, you're not going to get that's your best look really at Torquay Pavilion. From 1890 to 1930, the borough engineer of Torquay laid out the Princess Gardens, the Terrace Walk, the pier and Torquay Pavilion, which is on the seafront. Now, plans were passed in 1903. The pavilion was built in 1911. There's also a war memorial that was built in 1920. Now, part of its site is on reclaimed land, which obviously is a bit of an issue. The central copper-covered dome is topped with a life-size figure of Britannia. So that's the natural personification of Britain. There's a helmeted female warrior holding a trident and shield. and 2 smaller domes on each side have figures of Mercury, the Roman god. Now, the Pavilion Theatre opened on Saturday the 17th of August 1912. A foyer, auditorium, lounges and a cafe panelled with oak. So it was a theatre, cinema and concert hall. It was proposed to demolish it in 1973, but thank goodness it was actually listed as a grade 2 instead. And in 1976 it was leased, and the interior was destroyed to adapt for amusements, firstly as a skating rink and then in the 1980s as a shopping arcade. Built on a concrete raft on which a steel framework was erected, the steel girders are now heavily corroded. The Victoria Society lists it as one of the 10 most endangered buildings in the country. And I'm going to pause it on there because I just want to finish this bit. The pavilion closed in 2013. Torbay Council completed the lease surrender negotiations and gained full control of the building in October 2024. The heritage experts will work with the community to restore it and find appropriate future use. Starting in spring 2025, they have begun work to fully understand the building, and it's expected to take 1 year. Restoration will be costly, complex and time-consuming. It will need grant funds and private investors. Traditionally, pavilions were placed at ends of the piers in seaside towns. Now you're looking at Torquay Speaker's Corner. Now, interestingly enough, it was an idea of the former mayor, idea of former Torbay councillor Peter Robich. The mayor attended the official opening in February 2005. Now, in October 2003, Torbay Council received a petition from residents asking the council to establish a forum or a speaker's corner. Now, there's been a few marches of protest and meetings at the Stone. In February 2018, the Save Our NHS March and Rally took place from the Town Hall through the town centre and onto Speaker's Corner with guest speakers. Now, if you were looking at that, you'd have seen some writing underneath, and somebody's written, "What does this mean?" The Princess Gardens, featuring Agatha Christie's 1936 The ABC Murders. And the gardens host events, festivals, continental markets and world-famous Agatha Christie Festival Fete. There's also a feature of Agatha Christie Mall, an Agatha Christie Literary Trail. Now, we've just seen the Grade 2 listed 3-tier cast iron fountain, which was restored and repainted to the original colour scheme in 2018. It now has colour-changing illumination. Sadly, I didn't get to see those. We're looking at the War Memorial. In 2002 and 2003, names of those who served in World War II and other conflicts were added. The English Riviera wheel, which you can't fail to miss, gives 360 degrees views. It's almost 100 feet high. It opened from 25th of May this year and will close on the 30th of September. The ride, well, somewhere it said approx 12 minutes, somewhere else it said nearly 15, so in between 12 to 15 minutes. It's 45 metres or 150-foot wheel, has been there since 2012 and has planning permission until 2028. There was an objection from Historic England. In 2025, the Mellors Group, international entertainment group behind the scheme, said they would contribute $110,000 for improvement works to Princess Gardens. The wheel weighs 365 tonnes. There's an emergency button in each gondola, which I'll be pressing every 2 seconds. The doors lock automatically. Costs £6 for adults and £4 for children. But they did say that that could change on a daily basis. I think they're going to do wonders with that pavilion, Lee. I think it's beautiful from the outside. I think once they've got that investment, it will be wonderful to see. Now, interestingly enough, in 2015, there was a planning application for a 4 to 5 story 60-bed hotel and a 14-story block of residential apartments at Princess Gardens. The scheme, thankfully, was eventually refused. That would have been absolutely scandalous. I can imagine there was an absolute uproar. Now, why is it called the Princess Gardens? It's named after Princess Louise, the 4th daughter of Queen Victoria. She actually laid the foundation stone for the pleasure ground in May 1980. So that's what it was called. No, that cannot possibly be right, can it? Must be 1890. I've got my digits round the wrong way. It's overlooked in the middle by Torquay's Princess Theatre, which is South Devon's largest regional theatre, showing West End and touring productions from across the UK. It's got the palm trees, the water fountain, the flower beds, and it's really quite lovely. Which again makes me question how on earth they were going to put a massive development. Now, there is a bit, obviously, some people are against the wheel. I actually think if it's bringing in funds and investment that are then being put back into renovation, restoring and conserving, I think that can probably only be a good thing. I've been on the London Eye as well, interestingly enough, many years ago, about 25 years ago. Sorry, that was quite a speedy. I think it's easier when you're live not to be quite so speedy on the camera. I get carried away when I'm walking. Hold on to your hats. Again, so where you're walking, you are seeing quite a few places to buy tickets for the boat trips, the steam train. Oh, I don't think you get me on the London Eye now. I was obviously much younger, much braver. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really fancy walking too far out onto this pier. I was just, look at this great metalwork. Must surely be original. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? But then I was thinking, right, get me off now, get me off. Of course, all that salty air and wind. It's quite interesting. The more they look at the pavilion, I think the more they're going to uncover things that they need to do. I know Brighton Pavilion is costing an absolute fortune. Again, the iconic fish and chips. This is interesting, yes, Lee, because actually you did used to have the old Ferris wheels. And there you are, quite clearly you will see, welcome to the English Riviera. And that's about the Global Geo Park that I spoke about. And you can see there's quite a fair few people around. I think by then I was like, and there of course talks about, so this is Torbay Sands, and the reason for that, it's near to Torbay. And you can see here the walkway that you would not get me going up, I don't think. So you can see it starts down there on the right and then crisscrosses. So you've got your quick way to the beach, but quite frankly, if it's warm, that's quite a trek. Of course, the roads are closed. So when we went there and we drove into town, the roads were closed. So we had to find our way all over the place to actually park. It is very steep, Leslie. No, it's just reminded me, I was doing a tour. I wasn't doing a tour, I was taking a video, and somebody asked if they could be in my stream. I do wonder why people do that. So went to Paynton, obviously. So it's Torbay is Torquay. This is Torquay. We've got Paynton and Brixham. Now Brixham, I've got taken a video. Absolutely amazing place. Loved it. Paynton, I only kind of got on the steam train to get to Dartmouth. Also have a video. Love Dartmouth too. I just don't know what to show you next. And can you see across the beach to the right of that walkway? That's the Pride area. And for those of you that can see the detail, if you look at the bottom of that walkway down to the beach, you'll see there's seems to be this round circle in the sand. And we'll be looking at that in more detail in a little bit later. Train out of Paynton, yes, it was wonderful. I took a wonderful video taking the train out of Paynton. We actually paid the extra, what was it? £1, I think? Was it £1 extra to, was it £3 extra? I can't remember. No, I think it must have been £3 extra to actually sit in the very front cabin, which has got windows all the way round. And I took a lovely video, but unfortunately it wasn't on video at all. I did not go for a paddle at all, Susan. Do you know, I realised when I came home, I had not ensconced myself in water at any point. I should have at some stage. It was a very busy week, taking far too many videos for you guys. So I blame you all for not actually paddling. And hopefully again you can see that circle in the sand that we're walking towards. That's a jolly big building in front of us, isn't it? What a view. I did actually, spookily enough, actually walk on that walkway. I didn't go to Totnes. I did want to go to Totnes, but just ran out of time. It was crazy, but I did go to Dartmoor, and I'm going to be doing a Myths of Dartmoor tour, which I know Tina will love. I mean, hopefully you'll all love it, but yes, some spooky. And this, I think, is just... Now, I chatted to the chap, and I didn't get his name, but I've done a bit of research, and I think it must be Sandy Man, Jeff Ward, who actually uses a 1930s rake and some really basic tools to create these pieces of art. He counts out the footsteps to create the initial circle, and the rest, he says, is hit and miss. He lived on the streets for 18 months. He calls them mandalas, which are geometric circular symbols, and he calls them art therapy. A week after a stroke that he had in 2017, he made a sand tribute to the victims of the Manchester terror attack, and he's very well known in the local area. Is that not wonderful? I just thought that was... Love is love. Thank you so much to those of you who are liking my video. Those of you who are sending something financial in the form of a tip. It really means a difference. I know, and on behalf of my fellow tour guides, we do put a lot of time and investment into these tours. And unfortunately, as numbers are dropping, it really does make a difference. And that is your tour around Torquay and Torquay Pride. Oh, sorry, Torbay Pride and the town of Torquay. Lots of tours there. Right, let me see. What I am going to do, just because I'm nice and we have got a couple of minutes left, I'm going to show you this, which is actually, it was at the back of Pride. It's actually Torbay, and it's just the back of Torbay, but I just thought it was a lovely, lovely architecture. So I took a little video for you. Didn't have time to actually go into Torbay, but this is just one side of it. I think it'd be fascinating to go in. So you can have this as a little bonus. Now, I was stumbling around, I'll be honest. It was getting quite warm then. And I think I decided I'd start walking backwards at some point. And the ground was not flat. Isn't this beautiful, though? It's Torre, Torbay. That's why they call it Torbay Sands. I mean, I could definitely go back to Torquay and see much more. I think the whole area, there's so many beautiful places. Literally, I was doing something every single day. My sister had a couple of lazy days. There was no rest for the wicked for me. With the wicked? No rest for the wicked. I just love that property. I mean, I imagine the amount of money needed to upkeep it is absolutely astronomical. And the trees, the light on those trees is just superb, isn't it? Look how green they are. Love to have a nose in that building on the left as well. And then it's just my face. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I now need to think about where I'm going to take you next, show you what I'm going to show you. I don't want to repeat too much of, you know, the seaside tours, seaside towns one after another. I have got a kitten video up my sleeve, and I also have the monolithic megaliths. I think I've said that right or wrong, whoever knows, but I've got a video to show you there as well. It's looking to be absolutely ridiculously hot next Sunday, so it definitely be sharing another video with you. and we'll have to see, because unfortunately if it is too hot, this is a room I stream from, I can't have the van on because it'd be too noisy, and I can't really justify buying air conditioning just to do the tour. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Thank you so much for joining. Please do share with friends, family, cats, dogs, guinea pigs, and I shall see you all next weekend. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.